The Oak Creek police chief is in Washington today as the White House pushes for tighter gun control laws. Chief John Edwards was invited to a meeting by the president. 6 people were killed in Oak Creek last August when a gunman stormed the Sikh temple.
I welcome this opportunity to work with them, to hear their views in terms of what would make the biggest difference to prevent something like Newtown or Oak Creek from happening again.
And the chief has been vocal about what he believes needs to be done to protect people.
Today he spoke with our Cody Holyoke about gun violence and proposed law changes. Cody?
Charles and Carol, Edwards joined a who's who of chiefs from cities and towns who have dealt with gun violence firsthand. He tells me the president and other top officials asked for ideas to curb the problem. The chief brought some suggestions to the table.
This is an issue that elicits a lot of passion.
4 chairs from the president. Oak Creek Police Chief John Edwards brought the experiences from his small city to the national stage. What was talked about during that meeting?
It was a very good conversation.
From Washington, Edwards tells me the presidential discussion focused more on gun violence than gun control.
We talked about some of the mental health issues, some of the availability of guns to people who shouldn't have them, not about people who have the right to have the guns.
The chief voiced his concerns for addressing mental health before crimes take place and a communications barrier that keeps officers from checking a database to see if someone has a gun they're not supposed to own.
I should be notified when anyone in my community is trying to purchase a gun illegally, and we should also have officers who can call that number and right then and there take guns out of that home.
Edwards has said repeatedly none of the president's 23 executive orders would have prevented the Sikh temple tragedy, but he's hopeful they'll give police the tools they need to keep guns out of the wrong hands and stop crime before it happens. What needs to be done to make sure that this is a preemptive strike rather than a reaction?
I've heard someone say, or I read something where someone said guns are the start of all of this. Guns are actually the end of all of it. That's how usually these things end, is with guns. They don't start with guns. They start somewhere down the road, and that's what we need to focus on.
Now, Chief Edwards would also like to see felony charges for people carrying concealed weapons who don't have a permit. The chief isn't finished with the discussion. Tomorrow, he'll be part of a panel on mass shootings with the Department of Homeland Security. Charles?
All right, very interesting. Edwards also spoke out about fiery comments made by Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark, and the sheriff asked residents to buy guns for protection in case law enforcement doesn't arrive at crime scenes in time.
Arming oneself is a totally personal decision, and to try and use fear and say you should arm yourselves because we can't help you. Like I said, I don't know if the sheriff was talking about his department. That's something he'll have to deal with. But in my department, I think we've proven we will be there.
Sheriff Clark's controversial message was released in a radio ad last week. Today, Clark told CNN it's all about safety.
My message is for law-abiding citizens in certain situations not to go out and enforce the law. I said inside your home when the wolf's at the door and the intruder comes in, or someone sticks a gun in your face when you're on the street to take your property.
Sheriff Clark says he's always believed personal safety is a matter of individual responsibility. Now, the sheriff of Dodge County agrees with Chief Edwards and disagrees with Sheriff Clark. In a statement today, Sheriff Todd Nails said, quote, "I have complete faith and confidence in the 911 system and strongly encourage those in need of an emergency response to make that call first."